Hello, my name is Michael O'Connor, and in this session I'm going to be talking about the new mixed reality features we've added to Power Apps. My goal is to show you how easy it can be to incorporate mixed reality experiences into your apps, and to do that, I'm going to take you through all the steps you'll need to get started. When we're done today, I hope you'll feel confident enough to start experimenting and build your first mixed reality Power App. I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about the various mixed reality options in the Power Platform and explain how we fit in. Then I'm going to give you a few demos so you can see the kind of experiences we're enabling right now. Then we'll look at some sample Power Apps and walk you through using the Power Apps Studio to add these new capabilities into your apps. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about our roadmap for mixed reality. So our team was formed from one at Microsoft called Mixed Reality at Work, where many of us were involved previously in some of these products here. Remote Assist allows experts who may be a continent away to see exactly what the technician or installer in the field can see and guide them through a process with tools like the ability to literally annotate what the technician is seeing right in front of them through mixed reality. Guides allows experts to author training that is spatially aware. This allows for scenarios where, for example, a technician can be guided step by step through a complicated process like repairing an engine. So as they're working, they can see tethers guiding them to where their focus should be and instructions telling them what to do next. Obviously, huge potential for on-the-job training. And then Product Visualize allows salespeople to show potential customers exactly what a product will look like in their space, which comes in handy when you're selling heavy, complex machinery you can't cart around from customer to customer. So these products are all still available and under development and worth checking out if these scenarios make sense for you. They all started with a focus on HoloLens, but there are now mobile versions of both Remote Assist and Product Visualize. They're all also closely tied to Dynamics 365, which makes them great options for Dynamics sales and field service users. So when we started our team, we had a few different goals. First of all, the primary value of enabling mixed reality experiences in Power Apps is the ability to incorporate it into your workflows. If you already have a Power App for your business, you won't need to switch to a different app or head-mounted device to do something that should fit naturally into your workflow. We also wanted to give you useful building blocks you can use to tailor the mixed reality experience for what you need. As an example of this, we'll look at a way you might use measurements to filter the 3D models that can be placed in one of our samples later. Finally, although HoloLens is on our roadmap, we're starting with a mobile focus. Smartphones are ubiquitous, and so you can get value from leveraging mixed reality features in your Power Apps very, very quickly. Okay, it's time for our first demo, placing 3D objects in a space. In this demo, we have a standard Power Apps gallery control with all of the products our field sales guy is demonstrating for customers. In our case, that's everything from Surface PCs and bookshelves to robotic arms and forklifts. When we choose a product and drill in, the first thing we will see is our new 3D viewer control. The 3D viewer control is useful in scenarios where augmented reality doesn't make sense, but you still need to be able to look at models from various angles and zoom in on details and so on, so like desktop scenarios in particular. So having chosen a robotic arm that I think will look really nice in my warehouse, I've chosen to view it in mixed reality. Now I can place it at the end of the aisle here. I can twist it around and make sure it's properly situated. Then I can walk around it to make sure it has the necessary clearance. And finally, I can take a photo of the robotic arm that I can send to my manager for approval, and I can share with the installer. So when they come, I know that there won't be any confusion as to where it goes. So in this example, we've used what is called plane detection to find the floor and place the model there. In the future, we're looking at adding support for QR codes and images as other ways of placing models. Before we go into the next demo, let me tell you a little bit about how all this works. What we've done is modified the Power Apps native app on Android and iOS to make the ARCore and ARKit capabilities available to our custom PCF controls. That's important because right now, that means in order to use our mixed reality features, you need to be running the native client app. We're currently working with the Babylon native team, whose work will, among other things, reduce the need for platform-specific code. That will help us move more quickly and bring support for other platforms like the HoloLens. We're also planning a move towards WebXR, which is an industry standard under development that allows for augmented, mixed virtual reality experiences via web browsers. Finally, what we have for you right now are PCF controls for Canvas apps. They will not work with model-driven applications just yet, although we are working hard to add support for that. So in the demo, you briefly saw the new 3D content viewer, which is over here on the right. In this particular sample app, there is a button to view the 3D model in mixed reality, but that's optional. Our 3D viewer and mixed reality controls currently support GLB files. We are evaluating what other file types would be most valuable to Power Apps users for subsequent releases, and if you have specific file type needs, please do share that information with us. We're also introducing a 3D file type into CDS with the goal of making 3D content management simpler and more interoperable between the various different apps that might leverage it. The CDS data type is not currently available, so keep an eye out for that one. Okay, time for the next demo. In this demonstration, we're going to incorporate the use of mixed reality measurements to filter the available products in our catalog. This is the Contoso Custom Shelving app. Longtime Microsoft watchers know that Contoso has been in a lot of different businesses over the years, but it just so happens that I have a dead-end hallway in my home that would be a perfect place for some shelving. If I take a look at the product catalog, you can see all the different types of shelving available to me. There might be hundreds of different options though, and I would like to narrow it down to those that will fit in my space. So I'm going to go back and have a look at the custom shelves for your space option. And here I chose to measure my space in mixed reality. So I sort of show my phone around at the end of the hall here so it can get its bearings. Once I do that, we start to see some dots appear, which indicate that it's ready to start doing measuring. And then once I've measured the width of the hallway, the app tells me that there's only one shelf that's going to fit. And so now I want to see what that particular shelf would look like in my hallway. Once it's placed in here, I can twist it around, get it just right. Then I'll step back and I'll take a photo. Now in this demo, you saw a distance measurement, but you can also measure areas and volumes. And so in this video, you'll see us measure a volume and use the result of that to create a 3D object that can be moved around. The idea here was to see if this beverage cooler would fit on the other side of the aisle. So we draw a line around the base, then measure its height, and we end up with a volume. Now I can move this around the store. On the other hand, if you already know what size you need, you can give us the dimensions and we will dynamically generate a volume for you. We've been calling these fitment scenarios, where you just want to see if what you're buying, selling, or moving will fit into a space. Finally, there are scenarios where traditional 2D images can be really useful as well. So if you don't have 3D content for your products, you can still get pretty good visualizations of things like paintings and TVs placed on walls. 2D image placement also supports transparency, so it can look really good. Great, now I want to show you just how quickly you can incorporate this sort of feature into an app. Okay, here I am. I'm creating a new app using a phone layout from one of the app templates that Power Apps provides us. I'm going to choose the Cost Estimator app, which in our example will use measurement to estimate how much new flooring will cost. Great, so my new app has been created, and what we're going to look at is the room page. So here we can see that they're already capturing a length, the feet and the inches, the length and the width of the size of the room, so that they can use that to figure out the square footage and figure out how much it's going to cost. So what I'd like to do is add some buttons here that allow us to do measuring in mixed reality in order to just make this more convenient, a little bit quicker for the technician. Now, before I can do anything, I have to turn on the mixed reality features. We're currently in the experimental phase. So I'm going to go to Settings, Advanced Settings. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the experimental features, and I'm going to turn on the mixed reality features. Once I've done that, now I can go to the Insert pane. I can see a new mixed reality category, and I can drag in the Measure and MR control. Now I just want this to be a convenience feature, so I'm going to change it to be just the icon. And we need to measure in inches. So we're going to change it from meters to inches. And then I'm going to resize this to be a little bit more appropriate for a convenience feature. Pop it up here next to length. And I'm going to make a copy of that I can use for the width. So we'll drop that down there. And then I'm going to rename the width one to be measure in MR2. So the only thing that remains for us to do for the buttons is to update the onChange event to take the values returned from the mixed reality control and feed them into the text boxes. So I'm going to copy in some code that I've already written. This is really simple code though. So it takes the value that comes back from measure in MR1 measurements and it puts it into this variable length in inches. Then we use that length in inches variable to set the length in feet and the remainder length in feet divided by 12, so we get the number of feet, and then length of inches using the remainder of those things. And then all I need to do for the second button is copy pretty much the same code, except this time we're referring to the width instead of the length. And of course the second mixed reality measure button. The final thing we need to do here is we need to update our text boxes to use those variables that we've just created. So we're going to take length in feet, and we're going to get the length remainder. And then down here in width, we'll get the width in feet and the width remainder. And that's all I need to do to make this, to upgrade this app. So I can save the app. First I'm going to rename it though. We'll call it the Mixed Reality Cost Estimator. And then we'll save it. Now we can go off and we can try this in our native client app and see what it looks like. So now I've started our Mixed Reality Cost Estimator app, and we have a customer list. I chose the customer I'm providing an estimate for and click through to the page where we're going to gather measurements. I'll pop into the Mixed Reality experience and survey the length of the wall here where I'd like my, my new flooring to go in. And then once we submit these measurements, they're returned to the Power App and used to complete the form. Okay, so we've talked about placing content in mixed reality, 2D content, 3D content, and volumes you can use for fit testing. We've also talked about how you can use mixed reality measurements. Let's talk about how you can get started. In the MVAS timeframe, these features are available in the Power Apps preview environment. They'll be rolling out to the production environment over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Don't forget that these are also experimental features, so they need to be turned on in your environment before you'll find them in the studio. A little bit about our roadmap. First, most of what you've seen here will be generally available in October. That means moving it out from behind the experimental flag. In the meantime, we're also actively investing in Babylon Native as part of our long-term roadmap to bring support for additional devices like the HoloLens. And as you would expect, we're also going to be building and iterating on the features you've seen. There are some things we know we'll be working on, like the ability to annotate 3D models, but we're also leaving room for your feedback. We want to hear more about what you need and where you would like to see these features go. So on that note, we want to hear from you. You can write our team at mrceg@microsoft.com, and I encourage you to visit the Power Apps Ideas Forum to add your suggestions and vote on the other ideas there that you like. There's a mixed reality tag on the site to help you find our subset of Power Apps features, and this URL here will take you right to that. As a side note, I'm also working on bringing geospatial features like maps to Power Apps, and I also have an MVAS session covering that. So if you haven't already, please look that up and have a look at the work we've done there. Thank you for tuning in. I also want to say thanks to the customers and Power Champs who have been testing with us and sharing their feedback during our private preview. I can't wait to see what you build. If you share out your creations on Twitter, tag me at MXD Reality.